Now, earlier we looked at the latest Metro Monitor report, which measures political activity between February and May. The report highlighted the mayoral musical chairs in the 6 metros in which coalitions crumbled. Now, Paul, in fact, Berkowitz from the Third Republic explains how this has affected service delivery.
The city of Joburg and Tshwane, I can tell you, can attest to the pain of transient mayors in a very personal way. We can see the instability and impact to service delivery as a result. You've got cholera outbreaks and infrastructure unaccountability that led to it in the city of Tshwane. And this is in major part what the report corroborates, this political instability having a direct impact on public confidence and service delivery, right?
Yes, thank you, Iman. There's even more that didn't go into the high-level summary. For example, the adjustment budget Tshwane was supposed to pass in February only got passed in March or April on the third try, and under threat of the metro being taken under administration. So there are so many things that are going wrong with basic service delivery and sound financial management, while the parties play tricks and launch motions of no confidence against each other.
So just talk to us a little bit more deeply, because we do, our attention becomes distracted, hijacked, impaled, call it whatever you will, by the various political shenanigans. Is this or that speaker or mayor going to be able to even serve out a term? And all the time things are happening. So just share with us some of the detail that the report provides, which shares really the consequences of this type of political distraction.
Okay. Well, let's start with Johannesburg, because that's where we are. And I think on a personal level, we feel it very keenly. When the DA-led coalition, DA, Action SA, and the other parties in the multi-party coalition, when they were still in power, when Mpho Phalatse was still mayor up until January, February, the coalition tried to pass a short-term loan from the Development Bank of Southern Africa for 2 billion rand, which was supposed to just be bridging finance so that the city could pay the bills, pay the loan back near the end of the financial year. That vote on the loan was held up in council. It was opposed by the ANC, the EFF, the Patriotic Alliance. As a result, the city was unable to renew its fleet of about 400 vehicles. These are vehicles used for emergency medical services, I think for some of the JMPD as well. So basic services are being hit because of that. The Joburg Financial Division was evicted from their offices because rent hadn't been paid for 8 months. Electricity contractors through December threatened to down tools because they hadn't been paid. Now, this loan that the ANC and the EFF, the Patriotic Alliance, Good, ATM, Al Jama all said wasn't necessary, was passed immediately when Tapelo Ahmed became mayor, the first Al Jama mayor in February. And the coalition claimed that they had to pass the loan because they didn't know the severity of the financial crisis in the city. Now, they had to have been sleepwalking through council meetings in November, December, January to not know what was going on. And I find it hard to believe. Tshwane, as we said, threatened with to be placed under administration because they couldn't pass their adjustment budget. Nelson Mandela Bay has had many mayors over the last year and a half. It's had, I think, by last count, up to 5 acting city managers. So critical roles in the metros are not being filled. CFO, city manager, because the preferred candidate of this or that coalition is not in favor. So and I can go on and on. There's so much going on.
Yeah, I can imagine that you do. And hopefully this report is, and it is anyway, accessible to the public, because the themes that you talk about really lay bare what's really at play. And it seems as if the themes are really about, who's in power, who's in the power broker seat, and less to do with what actually needs to happen. But before I let you go, I want you to talk to us about who got clean audits and the fact that eThekwini, which is recovering from disaster, actually sent money back to the National Treasury, including, I understand in your report, relief funds for the 2022 disaster. All this while some people are still living in limbo in shelters.
Yes, only 2 of the 8 metros got clean audits, Iman, only Ekurhuleni and Cape Town, and they've had clean audits for a number of years now. They've got a good financial management team. So it doesn't always follow the one from the other. Even though there's been turmoil with different coalitions in eThekwini, the finances have still been good. In contrast, even though the DA had been in coalition for 2 years, Randall Williams had been mayor for 2 years, Tshwane got their first adverse audit, I don't know, ever, or at least in the last 10, 15 years. Other audits have also gone backwards. We now have a situation in Johannesburg where the new Aljama Mayor, Kabelo Gwamanda, and most of his mayoral committee have just not attended IDP meetings, community meetings that are required by law so that there can be community participation. It's got to a stage in Joburg, Iman, where the ANC-EFF coalition just doesn't care about doing the basics. They don't care at all about fulfilling their legal mandate to include the public, that's you and me, in the budget deliberations.
I really wish we had time, Paul, to talk about what this means for the residents of a city, because this can be, incredibly demoralizing for people to hear all of this dysfunction, that it really is predicated on people not doing their jobs and being more interested in, power mongering, that we have to leave people with a sense of agency and how they can be a catalytic force in their own lives to change their experiences. And hopefully we can have a follow-up at some stage. But thank you for your time tonight and sharing with us the details of that report. This is the Third Republic Director, Paul Berkowitz, just talking to us about their latest Metro Monitor report.